Key 1: a Stoic. At times, the hardest word to say is the one that we most desperately need to speak. Striking a balance between forgiveness and asserting enough is vital to preserving our self-worth. Navigating the complexity of human relationships is a delicate art, but it is essential that we protect our sense of identity while honoring the actions of others. This is not about being unforgiving. Rather, it is about respecting ourselves, guided by the wisdom of Stoicism. In an ideal world, forgiveness would flow naturally, and we would easily move forward without a second thought. But real life is much more complicated. Some wounds run so deep that healing feels unattainable, and attempting to repair them might only invite further harm. That's why setting boundaries becomes crucial for our mental and physical well-being. Let's explore how Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in virtue, rationality, and wisdom, can help us manage these tough challenges. It encourages us to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. We may be tempted to offer a second chance based on hope or affection, but Stoicism teaches us to make decisions based on reality, not wishful thinking. It involves recognizing patterns in others' behavior, particularly those that are likely to repeat, and asking ourselves whether it is wise to expose ourselves to the same pain again. In this journey, we will break down 12 key points to help you determine whether it's wise to let someone back into your life after they've hurt you. Each of these points will unlock powerful insights into the strength Stoicism provides us to make empowered decisions. Real change takes time. Genuine transformation is not instant. It is a slow, often arduous process that requires dedication, especially when we are unsure if change is even happening. As Carl Jung wisely stated, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." True change is not a grand gesture, but a series of small, consistent actions over time. Before deciding whether to trust someone again, ask yourself, have they shown consistent effort to improve? Change takes time, and trust is rebuilt only when behavior shifts are clearly demonstrated. Stay true to your values. Stoicism teaches us the importance of living in accordance with our core values. When deciding whether to give someone another chance, ask yourself, does this decision align with who I am and what I stand for? Living according to our principles is not always easy, but it is necessary for self-respect. When we compromise on our values, we lose more than just our integrity. We lose the very foundation of who we are. Genuine regret is essential. Forgiveness should never be an empty gesture. It requires true remorse and a genuine acknowledgement of the harm done. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, reminds us that wherever there is a human being, there's an opportunity for kindness. This kindness, however, must be rooted in sincerity. Without genuine regret and a clear commitment to change, trust cannot be restored. Forgiveness does not require reconciliation. Forgiveness is about releasing the burden of anger and resentment, but it does not automatically mean that the relationship should be restored. Forgiveness allows us to heal internally, but reconciliation is a separate process that requires both parties to rebuild trust. In forgiving, we free ourselves from emotional turmoil, but this does not necessarily mean inviting someone back into our life. As we continue on this journey, it's important to remember that the decisions we make about forgiveness and boundaries reflect not just the people involved, but also our commitment to self-care and wisdom. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for understanding our emotions and guiding us through difficult decisions. By embracing these principles, we gain the strength to protect our well-being and honor the relationships that contribute positively to our lives. Key 1. Stoic in the journey of life. 2 qualities are essential when considering reconciliation: wisdom and judgment. Forgiveness and reconciliation, though closely related, are not the same thing. Forgiveness is the act of healing the wounds within ourselves, releasing the bitterness that can chain us to the past. It's about freeing our hearts from anger and resentment. Reconciliation, however, is a more complex process. It involves assessing whether it's wise or healthy to rebuild a bridge between us and someone else. Sometimes it's possible to rebuild that bridge, but other times the damage is too deep, the trust too eroded. Forgiveness liberates us from the past, but reconciliation demands careful, honest evaluation. Can trust be rebuilt? Have both parties grown and changed? Is there a mutual desire to heal the relationship, rooted in respect and understanding rather than dependency or fear of loneliness? Forgiveness is a solitary journey back to peace, but reconciliation is a shared path, one that two people walk together, only when it leads to a healthier, more respectful relationship. There are times when the most courageous act of love, for both ourselves and the other person, is to forgive but not reconcile. It's about knowing that we can wish someone well, hope for their growth and happiness, without needing them to remain a part of our lives. This wisdom helps us set boundaries, knowing that while we may release them from our hearts, we don't have to invite them back into our lives. Moving on to a different challenge, let's consider a difficult truth. Deep-rooted problems don't just disappear. In life, we often face situations where the same issues resurface again and again, particularly in relationships where harmful behaviors aren't isolated but part of a recurring pattern. The Stoics remind us that chronic issues don't vanish into thin air. They're like shadows, following us until confronted and dealt with directly. Simply ignoring them doesn't make them go away. Acknowledging that these issues are likely to resurface doesn't mean we should resign ourselves to suffering. Quite the opposite. It empowers us to make informed decisions about our boundaries and how we engage with those who have hurt us in the past. As Seneca wisely advises, we should associate with people who are likely to improve us. This isn't just about personal relationships. It applies across all areas of life. It's about recognizing patterns, understanding their root causes, and taking proactive steps to address them. The Stoics teach us not to merely react to life's difficulties, but to anticipate them, prepare for them, and, when possible, avoid them altogether. Recognizing that chronic issues might resurface is not about closing our hearts to others. It's about protecting our peace and prioritizing our growth. It's about making the tough decisions that our future selves will thank us for. And most importantly, it's about remembering that while we can offer support and compassion, we cannot do the work for someone else. Their journey to change, like ours, is their own. In a world that often pressures us to say yes to everything, the Stoics remind us that saying no is not only an act of rebellion, but a crucial practice in self-respect and maintaining our peace. Why is it necessary to say no sometimes? Every time we say yes to something that oversteps our boundaries, demands too much from us, or conflict with our values, we are essentially saying no to ourselves. We are saying no to our peace, our well-being, and our respect for our own limits. Seneca puts it brilliantly. If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you need is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. This shift starts with the power to say no, to set boundaries and prioritize our well-being over external expectations. Saying no is not about preventing further harm. It's about respecting ourselves. It's about recognizing that our mental, emotional, and physical health are precious and must be protected. We can't pour from an empty cup. Our ability to love, give, and be present for others starts with how we treat ourselves. But how do we say no in a world that demands a constant stream of yes? It begins with clarity about our values, our limits, and our priorities. We must be honest with ourselves and with others about what we can and cannot do, what we are willing to accept, and what we must refuse to stay true to ourselves. The Stoics remind us that our first allegiance is to our own virtue and peace of mind. This doesn't mean we become selfish or indifferent to others' needs, but rather that we approach our decisions with wisdom, discernment, and respect for ourselves and the life we want to lead. Finally, the Stoics teach us the importance of understanding that core personality traits are deeply rooted. While we can encourage growth and change in ourselves and others, we must accept that there are aspects of human nature that cannot be radically altered. Marcus Aurelius once said, Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Understanding that personality traits are deeply ingrained helps us adjust our expectations, not just of ourselves, but of others as well. Life is like a garden. We can nurture, water, and encourage growth, but expecting an oak to become a pine is unrealistic and only leads to disappointment. Instead of trying to change someone's essence, the Stoic wisdom teaches us to work with our nature and the nature of others. We should focus on fostering growth in ways that align with our inherent qualities and embrace the process of personal development that takes time and consistent effort. And remember, as Seneca said, if you really want to change your life, you must first be willing to change your mind. The change begins within, the commitment to grow and transform, and the acceptance that it's a slow, often challenging journey. In all these lessons, we find not just philosophical musings, but practical wisdom for living a life of integrity, peace, and resilience. Key 1. Stoic before making any significant decisions, especially ones as important as reconciliation. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, offer us timeless guidance. They understood that our first impulses aren't always the best indicators of the right course of action. Emotions, while natural and vital to our human experience, can sometimes lead us astray if we allow them to dominate our decisions without pause for reflection. Marcus Aurelius, a central figure in Stoic thought, wisely told us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful insight reminds us that, although we can't control what happens to us, we always retain control over how we respond. When a moment of reconciliation arises, it's tempting to let our immediate feelings, whether it's anger, longing, or sudden affection, push us toward quick and often rash decisions. However, by allowing ourselves the time and space to reflect, we give ourselves the opportunity to draw from more than just fleeting emotions. We can tap into our deeper values, our life experiences, and our reasoned judgment. Not acting impulsively allows us to discern between the fears that are merely products of our imagination and the thoughtful considerations that can guide us toward a more peaceful, balanced future. As Epictetus so clearly put it, "Don't be carried away by your desires, as if you were a feather in the wind." The path to reconciliation shouldn't be dictated by the shifting winds of emotion, but chosen deliberately after thoughtful reflection on our past, present, and the future we wish to create. Life's inherent unpredictability can often leave us feeling adrift, much like sailors navigating an uncharted sea. We set our course with hope, yet we cannot predict the storms or the calm ahead. The Stoic view of life's uncertainties isn't one of resignation, but of dynamic engagement. Seneca, another key Stoic philosopher, taught us that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. This idea calls us not just to prepare for opportunities, but also for challenges. We must work, love, and hope, understanding that the outcome is beyond our control. This approach is especially relevant when faced with the need for change, whether from within or from others. It's natural to hope for transformation, to dream of growth, but the Stoic reminder that nothing is guaranteed keeps us grounded, urging us to temper our expectations with realism. It asks us, how will I respond if things don't change? What can I control in this situation? How can I find peace and fulfillment regardless of the outcome? By accepting that nothing is guaranteed, we cultivate inner strength and flexibility. We learn to navigate life's uncertainties with courage, to stay true to our values and commitments even when the ground feels unsteady beneath our feet. It's about embracing the journey, finding fulfillment in the process itself, loving the effort we put in independent of the results. In Stoic philosophy, balance between emotion and reason is crucial. The Stoics didn't preach the suppression of emotions, but the integration of emotions with rational thought. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This statement highlights the Stoic belief that reason, not emotional turmoil, should be the foundation of a fulfilling life. However, Marcus himself was no stranger to deep emotion, personal loss, and the weight of leadership. His writings show a deep understanding that emotions, though powerful, are natural and should be acknowledged and understood, not dismissed. The Stoic practice of balancing emotion and reason begins with self-awareness. It requires us to recognize our emotions, understand their origin, and assess their validity before we act. It's not about choosing one over the other, but allowing them to complement each other. Emotions can offer valuable insights into what we value and need, while reason provides clarity and perspective. This balance allows us to make decisions that not only align with our immediate feelings, but also with our long-term goals and well-being. Achieving this balance is an ongoing practice. It demands mindfulness, reflection, and self-discipline. It means taking a pause before reacting, examining our emotions with curiosity and compassion, and engaging our rational mind to consider the broader picture and potential outcomes of our actions. This Stoic approach empowers us to live more intentional, fulfilling lives, where our choices are guided by a profound understanding of ourselves and the world. Finally, Stoicism teaches us that we each play a vital role in the course of our lives. As we navigate our personal journeys, the decisions we make, especially who we choose to allow into our inner circle, shape our path. Stoic philosophy reminds us that we have the power to determine our own reactions and, by extension, the company we keep. Seneca's wisdom here is profound. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. This advice calls us to be discerning about the people we allow into our lives, to surround ourselves with those who uplift us, respect our boundaries, and encourage our growth. It's about taking an active role in shaping our relationships and ensuring that the people we interact with positively influence our well-being. Epictetus, known for his practical wisdom, reinforces this idea by reminding us that it's not what happens to us, but how we react to it that truly matters. We can't control the actions of others, but we have complete authority over how we respond to them. In the context of relationships, choosing not to offer someone a second chance isn't an act of bitterness, but of self-care, a decision to prioritize our own peace and well-being. Choosing to prioritize our mental, emotional, and physical health isn't selfish. It's an act of strength and self-respect. This doesn't mean we shut ourselves off from forgiveness or reconciliation, but it does mean we approach these concepts with wisdom, recognizing that forgiveness and distance can coexist when necessary for our peace of mind. As we continue on our journey through Stoic philosophy, remember this: you are the sculptor of your destiny. In your hands lies the power to shape your reality, to carve out a life of purpose, peace, and fulfillment. The most beautiful stories are those written with intention, resilience, and the melody of inner strength. Embrace the wisdom of the Stoics and let it guide you toward a life filled with meaning and clarity. The power to live a life of wisdom, virtue, and joy is already within you.